to learn more. This public service announcement was brought to you by the Ad Council.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
We have an NBA champion. That's right. In Game 7, the Thunder rolled 103-91. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was named your finals MVP. Tyrese Halliburton suffered what has now been confirmed as a torn Achilles in the first quarter of that game. We now focus on the draft, and it's already started with the offseason. Kevin Durant traded to the Rockets.
This is Extra Innings with Pleasure.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Rock and roll! The Texans win it!
You've been called the Da Vinci of our time. What do you say to that?
Absolutely ridiculous. I don't paint.
That ball is history. A walk-off home run.
And it's going to be legendary.
James Pledger wraps your day with insight, opinion, plenty of sarcasm, and of course, your calls. He'll even pour a beer out the door for his favorite story of the day. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. Now, here's Pledge. What's up,
Welcome into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I am James Pledger. I appreciate y'all joining me however y'all may be joining me, whether that is on 94.1 on your FM dial. If you happen to be listening online via our AA Best Bail Bonds audio player at sasportstar.com, or if you happen to be watching the show live on YouTube, that's right. We put all of our live shows on YouTube for you to stream at your convenience or live as they happen. Comment along. Just go to YouTube, search SA Sports Star. Go ahead and like, subscribe. Helps us out and allows y'all to communicate with the show. Y'all can jump in the chat or feel free to call in the old-fashioned way, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776 if you want to be a part of the conversation. So much to get into, and be remiss if we didn't start with the NBA Finals, as Oklahoma City, people are already starting to throw that potential D word around when talking about them. I think you're putting the cart a little bit before the horse talking about things like that, but there are pieces that make you think this could be sustainable for Oklahoma City, and kind of starts with their culture.
I heard something yesterday that I don't know why, I guess I hadn't considered, but it's a fact, is Oklahoma City is their team. Well, they've got these, the big three that they all, they took in the first round. They were like, the majority of their rotation is undrafted or second round guys. Mm-hmm. And there is something to finding guys who will buy into your system without having that superstar mentality. And quite frankly, outside of Chet, none of these guys were like wildly pedigreed when they came into the NBA.
And if they ever leave Oklahoma City, they'll go back to where they were. This is just a unique combination of dogs that are willing to, forego individual success or achievement for team success. But they're not. You think Lou Dort is going someplace to start? You think Alex Caruso will ever start anywhere? No. But way
they are perfect for this.
Dort does start. I shouldn't say that. But are they going to? Because Dort, at some point a couple years ago, remember, averaged 17 points a game. He had game that he is now kind of subjugated to the rest. But Dort is not a 17-point-a-night guy, because if Keldon Johnson for the Spurs is given 17 a night, you don't have enough talent. He's not that good. But is he an NBA dude that contributed to success? Yes, but that's the witchcraft that Presti brought together.
Well, last night they talked about Isaiah Hartenstein in his, when he was the G League Finals
MVP. He hit 8 threes in a game,
and he's just like, he doesn't do that now. Like, that's not his game anymore. Like, think about
it. It shouldn't be. My God,
how wild is that? That's witchcraft, but that's man. Inside him, and he's just like, well, okay, I don't need that.
I mean, it's not inside him. That's crazy. I've seen enough of him to know you're not allowed to shoot threes, and they don't let him shoot threes. But it is this witchcraft of finding dudes that are capable of coming together. They are greater than the sum of their parts, and that is the most difficult thing to do in any sport.
It reminds me a little bit of what the University of Houston's done in the last 4 or 5 years.
Finding a system and getting dudes that fit into it.
It's not always getting the top two. It's like almost like Shaka Smart used to do. Like it's not necessarily getting 5-star guys. It's getting guys who are willing to do.
Everything you're saying is correct, but there's a reason also behind this is eventually they're going to have a payroll of their top 3 dudes making $150 million a year. So you're going to have to find 8 other undrafted, ready to go, sacrifice your soul for a win kind of thing, because you can't afford to go any other direction. If you're going to keep these 3 dudes together, each one of them is going to make over $50 million a year in 3 years. So it's just going to be the nature of the beast. You can't stock your roster with anything other than dudes like Caruso, that journeymen that have a job to do. They know their job and they know their value. You can pay them just enough, but not more. And you hope the dudes you bring in to replace the dudes that are going to go get paid someplace can do it. And that's when I look at this team. Is Shea Gilgeous, by the numbers, he's Kobe. By the numbers, he's Kobe. But is he capable next year of lifting and carrying this team when things aren't going right and some of these dudes are wanting to get paid? And then, hey, man, I'm part of did you see what I did in the finals last year? I need more minutes. Look at me. So there's things coming down the road for a young basketball team without, at least from on the outside, an absolute dominant dude, both on and off the court. I'm not sure he's Tim Duncan in that measure. I think he's Tim Duncan in a lot of ways, but is he the guy that will guide and carry this franchise, be the tent post? No matter what happens, we can always look back to him. And that's where Tim took it over. That's why he's a GOAT. Now can Shea do that?
Yeah. Now there are certainly signs that point to it seems
terrifying,
possible.
dude. Not possible. It seems almost probable, because there's only one thing that Shea wants to do.
And just
play ball, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in OKC. It's the perfect lab for him. I think he's got a pretty good social media presence. They have a little bit of fun on the side, but this ain't LeBron. He's not getting tugged 1,000 directions. He plays basketball.
Yeah. And like you said, I think they are going to have to go with this sort of, you've got to hit on everything unless they get to a certain point and then they say, you know what, maybe it's time to trade Jalen Williams and get 4 first-round picks.
You know what?
And like they did with Paul George.
Absolutely. And you'd think that's probably imminent. That's what's so scary about this team is they're fully capable of rolling the dice, keeping 2 of their top 3, letting one go and bringing in another dog. I mean, it just looks like they're built for the stages that every 3 years we're going to be in a place to where we can make them move to continue the process. And if we can continue rolling every 3 years with this kind of thing, without external forces, this is a scary proposition. This is a young team that can only get better. This was not a pretty series. This was not the best they can play. And some credit goes to the Pacers, but for the most part, I think they look inside. This wasn't, we never got dialed in, but I'll be damned, the defense travels.
Yeah. And everybody can play defense. That's the thing. To a man, there's not a guy on that team that gets minutes anyway. That is I shouldn't say there's not a one-way player, but because there are some one-way players, but they're all the defensive way. There's nobody on that team that is just all they do is go in and play offense. And when you have that mindset as a team, like you understand, like you don't get on the floor if you don't D up hard. Dude, these guys, it is a dogfight for minutes.
And it's not a hard defense to play. I mean, these guys, they just play man defense. It's not like you're learning some
poking
kind
away.
It's
the
jump the pass routes, but it's ball you man defense, man. That's, you just know, and you go and ball up. There's just not, you come to the Spurs and a lot of teams, they play great defense, but it's a system defense that you have to kind of fall into and learn where to be and how to be and all that. That can take, at least with Pop's old defense, it would take 1.5 years before you could trust a guy to be where he needed to be on defense. It was so intricate. This is not that. This is get on the ball and don't let him get by you.
And 21 turnovers last night for the Pacers. And I just can't even imagine having to be a ball handler. And it's Dort, Caruso, and Cason Wallace just rotating, coming at you. It's like,
well, I'd like to see what their forearms look like.
Oh,
I bet they are battered,
bruised up
scratched.
wrists.
Oh man, when you come out of those games, 7 games of Lou Dort scratching down on your arms,
Oh,
man,
my gosh.
it'd be like coming out of a UFC fight, just battered up forearms and elbows. And if you're playing defense against Shea Gilgeous, that forearm to the chest that you have to take over, and over and over. Forearm to the chest extend shot. Forearm to the chest extend shot. Over and over and over.
They've put themselves in a very good position in order to continue this because of the way that the team is constructed. They have players, and their job is to find players to fit around what they believe their core to be. And the great teams know how to extend that core and that life. And the Spurs did it for 2 decades. It's going to be interesting to see if Oklahoma City can do a similar thing. Lots of ways for the Spurs to still be able to enhance this roster, despite not landing a Kevin Durant. We'll get into that as that show continues. Your phone calls 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Fred Record says Bobby Portis is available. Spurs need him or Lopez. He'd be a great addition, but there's a lot of people that would be great additions to these Spurs rosters that aren't household names, whether it's via free agency, whether it is via trade. We're going to get into a lot of that as we continue here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Find what you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine and More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Now more than ever, Lowe's knows you don't just want a low price, you want the lowest price. And with our lowest price guarantee, you can count on us for competitive prices on all your home improvement projects. If you find a qualifying lower price somewhere else on the same item, we'll match it. Lowe's, we help, you save. Price match applies the same item. Current price at qualifying retailers. Exclusions and terms apply. Learn how we'll match price at lowes.com/lowest price guarantee.
Thy ticket, Lady Jennifer of Coolidge.
Well, many thanks, good sir. Hereeth my Discover card.
They accept Discover at Renaissance fairs?
Yeah, they do here. Discover is accepted at the places that I love to shop. Getteth with the times.
With the times? You're playing the lute.
Yeah, and it sounds pretty good, right?
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Hey, get in. What? Who are you? I'm future you. Constipation with belly pain still coming back? Yeah. Mia, our doctor figured it out. She said it's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, and Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
It's Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. I appreciate everybody for rolling through tonight. Be sure to tune in to the Morning Huddle with AJ and Rob, who you just heard, every weekday morning from 6 to 10. Of course, the Blitz from 2 to 6 with Jason and Joe. They're going to be out in a cave tomorrow out at Natural Bridge Caverns. And then after that, they will be at the Roop Hub for the first round of the NBA draft. And it is going to be very entertaining as to what happens in the NBA draft, because number 2, we expect Dylan Harper. We expect that pick to kind of be off the table for him. So what happens after that? Are they moving 14? Do they keep 14 and stash him in the G League, or do they take someone that is an overseas player? leave him over there and bring him maybe never, maybe in a few years. It's going to be very interesting to kind of see how they play out making this roster what Oklahoma City is in terms of the blueprint, in terms of finding guys that fit. And that's, Jason said it today on the Blitz, you're talking about, building around Victor Wembanyama did the hourglass flip in terms of when the rebuild was starting versus now, because they spent that whole first season. All right, Wemby, go be you so we can find out how best to build around you. And then we spent a year with Jeremy Sohan at the point guard, figuring that out. We're about to spend another year looking at Dylan Harper to see if him, Fox, and Castle can all play together cohesively, or if one of them is going to have to be moved. And are we continually resetting to find out what works and what doesn't as we move forward? Because the biggest piece we thought potentially could have been added this offseason, at least that they were heavily rumored and linked to, was Kevin Durant. But Kevin Durant, for the people that didn't want him in San Antonio, breathe a sigh of relief, celebrate, whatever you got to do. The crowd that wanted him here, it's okay. A lot of us wanted him here at the right cost, at the right price point. You don't overspend for something like that, but, you see what they got and you're like, that's something doable. Jason and Joe were talking about what Durant means for the Spurs now that he is officially a Houston Rocket.
Well, you're extra happy today. I don't know why, because Kevin Durant is not a Spur.
I was very happy to see that news yesterday.
Why do you hate Kevin
God
Durant?
bless Houston.
Got a lot of people checking on me when that happened.
I was checking on you.
Yeah, with everything you have going on, you did. I'm good. Right. And I've been consistent. I'm good. I wanted Kevin Durant at the right price. And then I see what Houston paid.
You think it was a lot?
No.
No.
I mean, the one good young player in Jalen Green, 5 second-round picks. We have 15.
Well, what does that say about Kevin Durant? He's not the dude he used to be.
See, that's where you're wrong. Because of his expiring contract.
Uh-huh.
You look at that, and that factors in his demands on where he wants to go. I don't blame Minnesota for backing out.
Yeah.
Dude doesn't want to be here. I don't want you here.
Exactly.
Right?
Sure.
But I think that's where the Spurs are like, well, if he wants here, why would we overpay? Do I think Houston overpaid? I'm going to say that just because it'll make me feel better. But in reality, no. And I don't expect Phoenix to keep Jalen Green and who else was in there? I've already forgot. Dylan Brooks.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I look at that. But you talk about how good he is. Look at immediately what happens to the Houston Rockets. The Vegas odds of them winning jump right up there. Now, what, 8-1? 27 points. Houston, they're saying we are in the mix now to compete with Oklahoma City in the Western Conference.
Well, what I think is good for Durant going to Houston, he doesn't have to be the guy. He's not going to be a leader. He doesn't have to be anyway. And he can just shoot. He can just score. That's all he's going to do.
And teach. And that's all he was going to have to do here.
Teach.
He's the old veteran.
My gosh.
The old veteran.
Well, Ime Udoka can handle the guy. I'm not sure Mitch Johnson could have, being his visa still. Yeah, he's still a rookie as far as I'm concerned. But look, I'm happy the way it turned out. I now want to see what the Spurs do.
There you go.
And as much as we talk about it, it looks, unless something falls out of the sky, it's going to be Dylan Harper with that number 2 pick.
It is going to be Dylan Harper. And seems awful small, crowded, but also gives the Spurs flexibility if the three can't work together. But I'm more curious, all right, are we really going to pick 14 or do we flip that into something? What other moves, now that Kevin Durant is off the table, will the Spurs make between now? It's 2:04 on Monday. Draft day is Wednesday. The Blitz will be live out at the Roo Pub on Wednesday.
Yep.
And so many of the experts from Wendy to Shams saying that expect a lot of the craziness prior to the draft, not necessarily the first week of the tampering period in free agency. All right, well, it's draft week. It's draft week.
It is.
The draft is Wednesday night. So what kind of chaos are we going to get between now, the finals are over, and Wednesday night when the draft begins? That's what I'm looking forward to, seeing the craziness in the fact that, Kevin Durant on stage at the Fanatics Fan Fest thing. I am honestly a little surprised that Adam Silver didn't tell Phoenix and Houston and whoever, dude, let's get through a game 7. Let's not steal any of the spotlight from a game 7. We can announce this on Monday. We could, you think about during the NBA Finals, there were a couple of big trades and other storylines going on that had nothing to do with the NBA Finals. I'm surprised Adam Silver didn't try to curb some of that.
I am too, but I'm also not shocked because it immediately brought attention to the league in terms of, there's a team that could punch their ticket. We keep talking dynasty way too early with this team with how they're built. Well, the Rockets were the number 2 seed in the Western Conference with the season they had, and then add a player like a Kevin Durant. How competitive will that be right now? And I don't think it hurt at all because this was the most watched finals game in 6 years. Game 7 between Oklahoma City and Indiana. It was the most watched finals game in the last 6 years. It had 16.4 million viewers watching it. That is fantastic news for the NBA. So I think this Durant trade may have helped spark some intrigue for a game 7. Not that game 7 needs more intrigue than it already has, but it becomes very NBA centric. The NBA is top of mind. It's heavy. There's a lot going on. And now all of a sudden you have the most important game, the best type of game. I think it was really good for them. David Macias says, what if they draft Dylan Harper for another team, being Spurs? They might. That is a very good possibility. Fred Records says, hopefully the Nets keep wanting to get up to number 2, puts them in a position to make more if the Spurs don't want Harper. You're right, it does. But according to a recent report by Yahoo, San Antonio, their asking price for the number 2 pick is, and I quote, a ridiculous haul in exchange for it. That's a lot. Record says you could flip 14 for a quality veteran, potentially. Yeah. Chris Ozoroko says, will Patrick Queen be there at 14? I don't know. It's very difficult once you get past the cement at the top, because Con Kneipel is now being talked about it going as high as 3 or 4 in a lot of cases. You got a lot of teams that are saying Ace Bailey may fall. Other people got to rise for people to fall. Malawach. People are like, just trade down to 8. There's not a guarantee that Malawach or Con Kneipel will be there at 8 if you trade down to 8 with the Nets. It's just, you can control things at 2. After that, you better have a group of players, because any team can see what you see and take that person off your radar. Now, a lot of people had Josh Primo going before the Spurs took him. I'm pretty sure a lot of people may have been waiting to get him as a steal a little bit later in that first round. Spurs made the move, took him early. It's very difficult in the NBA draft because so much potential-based evaluation goes into projecting what they could potentially become. Not what their floor is, not what their ceiling is, but what a projection of their ceiling because of their physical attributes could lead them to become. And that's what a lot of it's based on. So it becomes a real crapshoot of who's going where. It's not as cut and paste. It's not as easy as the NFL draft, where you can kind of map out how the draft's going to play out, even for you at home in your chair watching. There's a shock. There's a surprise somewhere in there. But for the most part, you better have a move to get up to who you want to get to, because odds are they might not be there. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger here on San Antonio Sports Star. Morning Huddle was also reacting to that Kevin Durant trade, what it means for the Rockets, what it means for the Spurs. AJ and Rob going to get into it, and I'll get into it with you right after this here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM and sasportstar.com.
San Antonio Sports Star.
You know, the Roo Pub is proven to be the best place to watch games with those 3 massive 170-inch screens and TVs all around. All the games, all the fights, and when you show up at the Roo Pub, show up hungry. The food is fantastic. Open daily at 11. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and the best place to watch a game. Just down from the big blind, right next to the Angry Elephant. The Roo Pub, 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
George gets justice. You've just been in an accident, and now you're asking yourself, what do I do now? You're dealing with pain, medical bills, and missing work. Dealing with the insurance company feels overwhelming. The George Salinas Injury Lawyers, we're here for you. We'll listen and explain your options and fight to get you the justice you deserve. No upfront fees, no stress, just real help when you need it most. Call George Salinas Injury Lawyers today or visit us at getgeorge.com.
George gets justice. Getgeorge.com.
Mellow Mushroom has the best pizza in San Antonio. Mellow delivers the best pizza experience with their delicious dough, premium ingredients, and unique flavors. Delivering a higher order of pizza is the standard. If Mellow can make a pizza this delicious, imagine what they can do with munchies, greens, calzones, and burgers. Mellow Mushroom has San Antonio's best happy hour with food specials and half off adult beverages. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom.
With Progressive, renters can save on protection for the things that make your place yours, even things that don't make sense to everyone.
People always wonder why I don't get rid of my guitar since I never play. But it's like, what if I actually end up taking lessons? Sure, I've had it for 8 years, but if I get rid of it, then what will my New Year's resolution be next January?
Exactly. So bundle your renters and auto and save with Progressive and protect the things that make sense to you. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates and other insurers not available in all states or situations. Covered subject to policy terms and conditions.
Hey, San Antonio. Multiple tours overseas, years of protecting the country. It all adds up at University of Maryland Global Campus. Earn up to 90 credits for prior learning, military experience, and training toward our low-cost degree and certificate programs. We call that credit where credit is due. For over 75 years, our dedicated success coaches have been helping service members achieve their goals. Get started with local support and online and hybrid courses right here in San Antonio. Visit UMGC at San Antonio or umgc.edu/SATX.
There's a reason Intuitive Services Group handles our janitorial needs here at 94.1. They're local and serious about cleanliness. From nightly cleaning to detailed floor care, they deliver. We trust them, and you can too. Call Mo at 830-470-3007. That's 830-470-3007.
At Natural Bridge Caverns, the passage of time and moving water have carved out a massive underground creation. Hidden Wonders, our newest cave tour. Watch thousands of lights reveal otherworldly sculptures in a massive canyon with a sound and light show finale. Or visit the largest of our 2 caverns with a discovery tour, winding through majestic rooms with incredible formations. Above ground, top off your adventure with a zip along the sky rails on our towering ropes course. Choose your adventure at naturalbridgecaverns.com.
This is Andrew Monaco, and you're listening to the home of the Aggies, 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
So what are the ramifications of the Kevin Durant trade? Now that the Spurs aren't getting him, he is going to Houston. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger here on San Antonio Sports Star. You can follow me on social media, X, all that good stuff, at I Am Pledger. You can follow the station at SA Sports Star. Comment to us. You can also feel free to call in 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776, or you can talk to me on YouTube. Just go to YouTube, search SA Sports Star, go ahead, like, subscribe, like Renji says, on YouTube right now. Put a thumb on the show for me. It'll really help out a lot. I appreciate all y'all for riding along. Kevin Durant's a done deal now. So what does it mean for the NBA, for the Western Conference, for Oklahoma City, for the Houston Rockets, for the San Antonio Spurs, who were reportedly the preferred landing spot for Durant, but the Spurs also reportedly never truly made an offer. So it's a very confounding situation that the Spurs found themselves in when it comes to the entire Kevin Durant saga. But it is now said and done. What is next?
The other slim thug, Kevin Durant, headed to Houston, Texas. The offers weren't at least apparently the Spurs never made a serious offer,
or at least not in Phoenix's mind.
Right. Here's what Phoenix asked Miami for: Jaime Jaquez, Nikola Jovic, Haywood Highsmith, the 20th pick, and they probably would have had to throw in Andrew Wiggins to make money match. That doesn't seem like anything.
Well, Jaquez is a player, and that would have allowed some space for Book. Jovic is a player too, and he plays a lot like Durant, so he'd have filled that gap. It would have gotten him there. That pick would have mattered, but I don't know why they didn't take that. I don't know why they didn't take it, because
why the Heat didn't take it?
Well, why the Phoenix didn't take it?
No, that's what Phoenix offered. Miami said no.
Well, I don't know why Miami didn't acquiesce to this. It was a bunch of. I like Jaquez, and I think they like him too much, and I think they like Jovic too. But the sum total, I don't know why that didn't happen. I don't know why both teams didn't go, all right. I know it was a bunch of little parts.
Yeah.
But it was enough parts to justify it. And it would have fit better around Devin Booker, which is obviously their future, than this. I don't know how Jalen Green and Devin Booker play together. I don't know where this fits on the offensive side of the ball. You're gonna force Devin Booker to be an 8 assist a night guy? Was that where you're gonna turn him into one of the purest shooters in the world? You're gonna put him with the ball in his hand. You don't have him coming off picks half the night.
It is.
I don't get what they're doing here. Now, I like Dylan Brooks. 5 second rounders mean nothing. That's nothing. That's a pawn that's worth a dollar amount on it. Those will never be players. That's dollars. So that doesn't matter. That other pick, maybe. I mean, maybe that was the turn that they at least get a pick out of this.
Says here, according to Arizona Sports 98.7 in Phoenix, the Suns are planning on keeping Jalen Green. Do not plan on moving him to a different team. But obviously, he's going to be in a backcourt now with Devin Booker and Bradley Beal.
I don't see how this works.
Now it says here, Green was a logical candidate to get dealt because of his upside and his salary. He signed a unique extension with the Rockets last offseason, 3 years, $106 million, with a player option after year 2. And he was the first player to negotiate a 2+1 rookie extension on a 9-figure contract. Averaged 21, 5, and 4 with Houston. Started all 82 games, but it's.
Well, Beal's the odd man out in this. But
Beal's a guy that they want to be gone, but I don't know.
Well, he'll still be on the roster. They can't get rid of the albatross. But he'll have a nominal effect on this offense. This is going to be a Devin Booker, Jalen Green ball. It's your turn, my turn kind of offense.
I guess so. And I like Dylan Brooks. I think Dylan Brooks is a good fit for a good team.
Exactly.
I think Dylan Brooks is a kind of waste on the Suns. But I think that was mostly salary matching and things like that.
And, tough guy.
Yeah. I don't know that he's going to help the Suns be any better. I don't think the Suns got any better. But the Rocket, I mean, it ends up like we had all this bluster about, look what guys are going for now. What's KD going to go for? Well, it turns out
not much. Now, Houston is significantly better. But this is a team that you do need to worry about, because this will be year 3 under Ime. Defense is front and center, and you've suddenly got, without hesitation, 25 a night. to play with. You get 25 points from him a night you just can count on it. It's death taxes and Kevin going to go get 25. So they are a formidable team. It's going to be, can they play the defense without Jalen Green and Dylan Brooks that Ime wants them to play? Are they going to be able to go do that? Keep in mind, Reed Shepherd's going to have to take on a bigger role now.
Yeah.
Can he play the defense that's going to be required? Because offensively, I have no worries about this team. They're going to put 110 up without much issue. Can they stop somebody on a regular? And if they can, this could be one of those runs that Kevin Durant could go out with a ring on his hand, because they legitimately can put together a kind of offense that's big and can shoot over you. And Sengun is a threat in the paint. He's the kind of guy that abuses. Look what I bet that his numbers against Chet are pretty good, because I know they're pretty good against Wemby.
Yeah.
He plays well against those guys. So Houston is they're not a dark horse anymore. They're a legit contender as they wake up today.
The projected starting five for the Rockets: Fred VanVleet, Amin Thompson, Kevin Durant, Jabari Smith, Alperen Şengün.
Dude, Amin Thompson they're one of the best on-ball defenders in all of basketball. VanVleet is a dog, a winner. He got rings. He knows what he's doing. And then you look at that front court, man. That's a good basketball, really, really good basketball.
They got something going there, and they've got an excellent coach. Yeah, no, there's something to watch for sure. But again, KD's health is always a question mark.
Always. And, this is still an undisciplined basketball team. They still need to tighten up the fringes, and that's been Ime's challenge. And I think Jalen Green was a significant part of that. He's a bit of a wild Mustang, so I think it made it a little bit tougher for the rest to kind of dial in, because he needed to have some freedom to kind of just go be Jalen Green.
I wonder like if Jalen was the first choice.
It would
for the Suns.
Yeah, I think it would have been, because he was the most gettable. Jabari's probably the guy that was their first look, but everybody want him
or Şengün.
Well, keep in mind,
Amin.
Şengün had already been signed. Remember, Şengün got that contract a couple of weeks ago, so I think everybody knew he was kind of off the table.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel I would have.
Well, everybody asked.
I'm also not a Jalen Green guy, but I would have asked. My first ask would have been Şengün, and then I would have asked for Amin Thompson, and then I would have asked for Jabari Smith.
No,
and then I would have asked for Jalen Green.
And they got no, Jalen. And Jalen was the most movable property. I mean, he is a 20-point a night athletic guy who on certain evenings can literally lift your team to he can go get 50. We know he's capable of it.
Chris says Spurs probably never even made a legitimate offer, and that's what makes me mad about it.
They didn't make a single offer. They listened.
They never go to get a effing superstar. I would rather have KD over Fox. I was so mad they never made a legitimate offer. Durant's a freaking bucket. I don't know. I think that
there's arguments both sides.
I
get it.
I do too. I just don't know. I mean, Durant is not on the same timeline as this team.
Okay. What's the timeline of this team? I keep hearing that about the timeline. The timeline's to win with Victor Wembanyama, with De'Aaron Fox. And if he helps you get to that timeline of winning, it's worth it, because he shows the younger guys how to win. And then you figure out how to supplement once he does start to fall off, but he hasn't fallen off yet. He makes you a legitimate threat, the same way he makes the Rockets a legitimate threat, who are also a little bit further along than the Spurs. And when it comes to where they are in the process of but I don't understand this matches the timeline. Or is everybody supposed to be under 21 years old on this team? You got to have a mix of players. And sometimes you have an old dogged vet who's been through the wars, who knows how to get it. Look, the Rockets got rid of Jalen Green. I saw a lot of things earlier today and today about Jalen Green. Ma'am M was asking me, wasn't Green the best player on the Rockets this past year? Arguably, yes, in terms of points per game. But, I mean, Wilson in the playoffs no-showed when the lights were their brightest. and was kind of schemed out of games when teams really tried to take him away. Look, this team is going to be built around him, and most Rocket fans have seen while he was the number 2 overall pick and their leading scorer, and those leading scorer stats in a lot of cases were, purely aesthetic in a lot of cases. Amen Thompson, Alperen Şengün, Reed Shepherd, Jabari Smith Jr., these are the guys the Rockets truly seemed like they wanted to build around, because this isn't the first that we've heard of Jalen Green's name mentioned when it comes to pursuing a bigger star. What they needed in the postseason against the Warriors that they didn't have was a go-to bucket. Somebody that no matter what's happening in the game, if things aren't going right, give it to this guy and he will get you a bucket. That wasn't what Jalen Green was able to do. Fred VanVleet is not that. Dylan Brooks is an enforcer. He's a 3-and-D guy. Alperen Şengün, you can try and pound it down low with them, but you can take away guys that play inside the paint like that. Amen Thompson still has to take that next step offensively. Kevin Durant gives them the piece they're looking for. It makes way more sense. And to be fair, Spurs need that too. They need somebody that can shoot 43% from the field or from 3. Like, these things help. Fred Villarreal was wondering if Reed Shepherd finally gets the chance to play this year. Absolutely. You've unlocked it a little bit. And Jabari Smith is... the upside on that guy is crazy. He looks really, really good, and he's only getting better each year. He's going to help the Rockets get to where they want to go. Where they got to go after that, hopefully the young guys are now in a position to take the reins and take over when it's finally time, which is what the Spurs should have also been looking to do. Get a guy to get you to the promised land, maybe put you over the top, and hopefully the guys that you want, the young guys on your team, can take what they've learned through those battles that they're going to need to go through at some point. Just like Oklahoma City did. And they lost in the playoffs last year after being one of the best teams. They weren't ready the year before. I wasn't sure they were ready this year for a Game 7, and the lights may be too big still, and they were still learning to get over these humps. They kicked the door in with that Game 7 win. And potentially, because I think the Game 7 earlier against the Nuggets really helped them out in that instance. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776 if you want to be a part of the conversation. When we come back, Rockets are rebuilt, ready to compete. What's rebuilding for the Spurs look like, especially when we're coming into such a pivotal offseason with this number 2 overall pick? We'll talk about it next, right here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
June is Gun Violence Awareness Month. Violence prevention is injury prevention.
911, what's your emergency?
Keep guns locked, secure, and out of reach of children. Firearms are the leading cause of death for people under 20. Never leave a gun in your vehicle. Stolen firearms are often used in other crimes. In a moment of conflict, don't let a split decision become a lifetime of regret. Never celebrate with gunfire. It's dangerous and illegal. Prevent an injury, store guns safely. Learn more at sa.gov/health.
Progressive knows if you have to choose between everyday life and your RV wins.
What, are you going to take the RV to the mountains or go pick up your dry cleaning? RV wins! Are we cleaning the gutters or taking the RV camping? RV wins! Are we getting a new passport or cruising up the coast? RV wins!
Don't forget, you got that trip to Sweden coming up.
Oh, yeah, passport, then RV.
With Progressive, you can bundle your RV with your home or auto and save with a discount and spend more time enjoying those savings in your RV. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates, other insurers, not available in all states and situations.
Do you want the lowest prices on wines and champagne shipped right to your door? TotalWine.com, America's largest independent wine retailer, ships to Eugene and Springfield. Explore our vast selection of over 8,000 wines and find something you love, all at the lowest prices for over 30 years. Whether you're looking to enjoy a full-bodied Cabernet from Paso or crisp Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand, TotalWine.com has you covered with great wines and Grand Cru champagne shipped right to your door. Find what you love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More. Shipping available on on wine and champagne only. Drink responsibly. B21.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080. Or go to SelectQuote.com. 1-800-743-8080. That's 1-800-743-8080.
SelectQuote. We shop. You save. Full details on example policies at selectquote.com/commercials.
Most people in radio commercials talk really fast. But we made this one for RV owners. Progressive knows they like the slower pace of RV life, like this commercial. And they know Progressive will protect their RV at a fair price with discounts. Now here comes the fast part. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Your marriage is over. You know it. Your friends know it. Take back control now with Barton & Associates, an aggressive, no-nonsense team of attorneys ready to fight for what you deserve. Contact us today at TexasDivorce.com. That's TexasDivorce.com.
Welcome back into Extra Innings with Pleasure here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, SASportsStar.com, and on YouTube at SA Sports Star. Appreciate all y'all for chiming along on the YouTube channel. A lot of people very not happy with the Houston Rockets. I think that's just a Spurs thing, but, you know, I get it. Sports hate. It's fun. 210-656 ESPN 656-3776. Look, it's going to be very interesting to see where this plays out and how the Spurs now continue to do this, because you've got the Rockets way, which is about going in, getting that star, making a move to improve your team. People forget Oklahoma City did that too. It was a smaller move in terms of what they brought back in. They spent a lot of money on Isaiah Hartenstein, and they made a big trade because Josh Giddey was what we thought one of their three pillars. And what he was able to do on the court as the lead guard was incredible. But they were like, we need a veteran that is 3 and D, and that is his calling card. That is his nature. And they traded Alex Giddey to go get Josh Giddey to go get Alex Caruso, and it completely changed the complexion of that team going into this year. Their mentality, how they're built, and what they value most, and what people's roles within the team dynamic were. It's going to be very interesting to see how the Spurs play this out now, because Blitz was talking about it. The Spurs, there's a lot of ways that they can go, but they seem to be at least signaling towards one way.
The draft is coming up on Wednesday, and Spurs have the number 2 overall pick in the draft. Cooper Flagg, with all certainty, I guess, is going number 1 to the Dallas Mavericks, and it appears Dylan Harper's coming to San Antonio.
Well, and Blitz will be live Wednesday at the Rue Pub. They've got the Wemby burger. Do we get something on the menu for Dylan Harper for Wednesday? Or does he have to earn a menu item?
Well, he has to earn that.
All right.
Although, you know, Wemby didn't earn it. But again,
Right.
Dylan Harper's not the number 1 overall pick either.
Yeah, but he's the number 2 overall pick.
Okay, and?
Right. I'm just saying. I mean, there's the expectation. There's a reason the Spurs don't even seem to be entertaining phone calls for Dylan Harper. I mean, Philadelphia seemed to offer up quite a bit just to move up to number 2, and the Spurs said no. You know, at first I was thinking, well, of course they're playing hardball. They want to can, have all the leverage. If they seem to be shopping the pick, then asking price comes down. With what Philadelphia offered just to move up one spot, and the Spurs said no to that, tells me they are taking Dylan Harper at number 2. Don't even bother calling.
Yeah, that's and they must really think highly of this kid. And after all, we can go back to 1983 and remember the histories, what history teaches us, and to not make the same mistakes. But I digress.
Yeah.
Look, what do the Spurs need to do? What do they need to get them over the hump? I know you thought that Kevin Durant would be a big step in that direction, and I understand why, just from shooting wise, and he would spread the floor for Wemby. And obviously, I think that is a need, and there's no argument there. Dylan Harper doesn't do that. He is a playmaker for sure, not a scorer necessarily, not a shooter. He is a scorer, not a shooter. But the kid's obviously got skills.
He's got skills, and again, a little bit of a cross between Tony and Manu. He can create his own. He can pass. Everything you read about him, the highlights that you watch, I mean, it's incredible. But they need floor spacing, and they need an outside shooter, another big. He doesn't check any of those boxes. But when you look at bringing him in for a year, and some of this, and I hate to phrase it this way, but are the Spurs ready? Do the Spurs front office think they're ready to compete for a championship, or are they still building? And it kind of feels like, you remember when Wemby came in and Pop said, man, we need to figure out what he's like as an NBA player. So this first year is just kind of let's see what Wemby needs, and we're going to add around him. All right, well, we've done that. Is this kind of an experimental year to see if Castle, Fox, and Harper can work together, how they work together, and if not, who's movable, who isn't movable, and what could you turn that into? Because I have a hard time believing we're going to see a lot of minutes during a game with those three on the floor at the same time. I mean, one, they'd be ridiculously small at that point, and how does that help space the floor for Wemby? And on pick and rolls and getting Wemby into the paint where he's like I don't know, what is he, an 80% shooter in the paint? I know he likes to be outside, but I mean, dude, they're easy buckets right in there. Maximize what he's able to do. So they didn't overspend on Kevin Durant. Cool. But that's still a need. At this point, I've got little confidence that Devin Vassell is going to develop into that consistent outside shooter. Big enough body of work. That ain't his game. Time to move on from Devin Vassell. So what can you get in return that is that consistent bucket? That's what they need.
Well, that's the $10 million question, right? Who's next and who can get it done from the outside? They got to have shooters. They have to. So if you take Harper at number 2, he's basically the same guy as Stephon Castle. Basically, right? De'Aaron Fox, you can throw them all in there. And I get it. You need a backup. Maybe Harper comes off the bench. He leads the second unit at first. Perhaps that's where they go. If that's what they think is right, and by all accounts, that's where they're going, what about that 14th pick? That is certainly movable. I don't think there's any question about it. I've seen mock drafts talk about some center that I can't pronounce his name. And which apparently is rising up the ranks in draft circles. That's another need. But do you go with 2 rookies? Is that how we're going to progress as we move forward and try to get this team to the next level by drafting 2 guys at 2 and 14 and hoping that they work out sooner rather than later?
That 14th pick is kind of mysterious, right? Technically a lottery pick, but not really. Outside of the top 10, how much value does it have when you're talking about trade discussions? Now, mind you, what was Kawhi, the 15th pick? There's a lot of guys picked in the teens, Tyrese Halliburton, that have had incredible NBA careers. So I don't want to discount 14. I don't expect the Spurs to give it away, but they're not willing to part with 2. So what are you getting in return for a trade for somebody to move up to 14? And again, look at trade value charts and make them make sense. Bain, 4 first-round picks for that guy. You look at I don't know, Durant and Luka combined for 2 first-round picks in their trades, right? So trying to figure out what is that 14 worth, or who could the Spurs be targeting? And then all the different mock drafts have everyone that I've seen. I don't care what platform you go to. It's all the same dude with some name that I'm not going to try to pronounce yet. And until he's a Spur, I'm not even going to bother trying to learn it. Now, everything I read about the dude, I have no idea about him except for what I've read. Most of you listening right now, I have no idea except for what you read. I know there's one out there that will tell me you watched the Zapruder film on him, but I digress. But when you read about him, I don't know that I'd be mad if that's who the Spurs took. Will somebody fall in the draft? Could the Spurs move up from 14 to 8 or 9 or 10 to, I don't know, get a dude from Duke? That's what the next couple of days are going to be fascinating. It's not, can the Spurs flip 14 into something? It's, do they take 14 and a Devin Vassell or a Harrison Barnes or a Keldon Johnson, all the names that we've heard, can they flip those into something to get into the top 10 if a certain Duke center is available?
Come on, Mala watchers, who they're talking about. And yeah, I mean, can they? And that's going to be a big question as we enter draft night. And we've only got 2 sleeps away from it. So mark your calendars, get to the Roo Pub, because that's going to be a place to watch it, because they've been teasing fireworks for the NBA draft. And I don't doubt it, knowing that the Spurs likely not staying put at least one of their 2 picks. This has been Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger, right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 941 FM, sasportstar.com. Check on your loved ones. You never know what they're going through in life, and a simple, hey, how you doing? Just thinking about you could change everything for them. This has been Extra Innings with Pledger. We'll see you tomorrow night right here on San Antonio Sports Star.
San Antonio Sports Star.
Mike Rowe here with a quick question. Have you noticed cracks in your drywall, chimney, or exterior walls? I hope not, because if you have, they could be indications that you've